From the 10th Avenue Extension Greater Estate, this is MBN TV, Omega Broadcasting Network. Mega News at 6 coming to you live from our studios, but first the headlines. District Assembly is recording faster development under 80% Common Fund policy, John Dramani Mahama. Business, NPA chief raises concern over emerging national energy security threats. On the international front, East African nations push to reduce used clothing imports amid economic and industrial concerns. My name is El Samuels. The news is also live across our social media handles on MBN 360. Details of the story: the President John Dramani Mahama says government decision to transfer 80% of the District Assembly's Common Fund directly to local assemblies is accelerating development across districts, improving infrastructure delivery and strengthening grassroots governance. The President, John Dramani Mahama, says districts across the country are witnessing faster and more visible development following the implementation of the government's 80% District Assembly Common Fund transfer policy. According to the President, the policy is empowering metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies to undertake critical projects and respond quickly to the needs of their communities without unnecessary delays. Speaking at a public engagement, the President Mahama noted that decentralization remains a key pillar of his administration's governance agenda, stressing that local authorities must adequately resourced to drive development at the grassroots level. He explained that the district release of a larger portion of the Common Fund is helping assemblies improve road infrastructure, sanitation, education, healthcare, and other essential social services in their jurisdiction. The President further indicated that the policy is also promoting accountability, ensuring that all development reaches underserved communities across the country. President Mahama reaffirms government's commitment to deepening local governance and ensuring the equitable distribution of national resources for accelerated national development. In another story, the President has also announced a major infrastructure development agenda for the Savannah region aimed at improving roads, healthcare, education, and economic opportunities for residents. The President, John Dramani Mahama, has unveiled what he described as transformational infrastructure package for the Savannah region as part of efforts to accelerate development in northern Ghana. The President says the initiative will focus on improving road networks, expanding access to quality healthcare, upgrading educational facilities, and boosting agriculture and local trade within the region. Speaking during an engagement with chiefs and residents, President Mahama stressed that the Savannah region holds significant economic potential and must receive the needed investment to unlock growth and create jobs for the youth. He noted that government is committed to bridging the development gap between the northern and the southern Ghana through targeted infrastructure and social intervention projects. According to the President, improving connectivity within the Savannah region will enhance commerce, supporting farming communities and attract private sector investment. The President further assured residents that government will continue to prioritize equitable national development to ensure no region is left behind. Away from the Savannah region, government has introduced specially armed buses designed to appear like a regular VIP, STC, and OA travel coaches as part of intensified efforts to tackle rising highway robbery attacks across the country. The government has rolled out a new security strategy involving the deployment of armored passenger buses disguised as commercial coaches to help combat highway robberies on major roads nationwide. The specially modified buses, which resembles popular transport services including intercity STC coaches, VIP and OA travel and tours buses, are expected to support convected security operations targeting armed robbers who attack travelers on highway. Security officials say the operation forms part of a broader measure to improve safety for passengers and transport operators, especially on robbery-prone routes.
We'll come after you and we'll not be able to deal with them. Lastly, one of the major challenges that we used to have was the long stretch where armed robbers block people and then take all their resources. Today, under the watch of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we've acquired armored buses. And these armored buses have been doing a wonderful thing on most of our long stretch routes, because we keep branding them differently. Today we brand them as STC, the next day we brand them as VIP, another day we brand them OA, just to make sure that we get the perpetrators. And I can assure you the IGP and his team are doing excellently. We've been getting a lot of the highway armed robbers, and very soon we want to believe our highways will be much, much safer than they were before the coming of His Excellency. So I want to thank you and assure you that feel safe, cooperate with us, and we'll assure you we'll continue to make sure that the country.
And that was the Interior Minister, Muttaka Mubarak. Now to the business desk, where the Chief Executive of the National Petroleum Authority has warned of a growing threat to Ghana's energy security, calling for urgent strategic measures to protect fuel supply stability in the country's petroleum sector. The Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority has highlighted emerging concerns surrounding Ghana's energy security amidst increasing global and domestic pressures on the petroleum sector. According to the NPA boss, development within the international energy market, supply chain disruptions and illegal activities within the downstream petroleum industry poses significant risk to the country's fuel security and economic stability. Speaking at an industry engagement, NPA chief stressed the need for stronger regulatory enforcement, strategic fuel reserves, and enhanced collaboration among stakeholders to safeguard uninterrupted petroleum supply nationwide. The authority also expressed concern about fuel smuggling, pricing volatility, and the impact of geopolitical tensions on the global crude oil markets, warning that such development could affect local fuel availability and pricing. The NPA says government and industry players must work together to build a resilient energy sector capable of withstanding future shocks and ensuring long-term national energy security. The authority reaffirmed its commitment to maintaining strict oversight within the petroleum downstream sector whilst promoting efficiency, transparency, and consumer protection. Away from the business desk, we go straight away to East Africa, where several East African countries are intensifying efforts to reduce the importation of second-hand clothing in a bid to protect local textiles industry, create jobs, and boost domestic manufacturing, though analysts say the transition will not be easy. Countries within the East African region are renewing calls to curb the importation of used clothing as government seeks to revive struggling local textiles and garment industry. Leaders and policymakers argue that dominance of second-hand clothes, commonly imported from Europe, North America, and Asia, continue to weaken local manufacturers and limit industrial growth across the region. Governments within the East African community says reducing dependence on imported used clothes could help create jobs, strengthen domestic production, and promote economic self-reliance. However, experts warn that the move presents major economic and social challenges, particularly because second-hand clothing remain affordable for millions of low-income consumers and supports thousands of traders and retailers. Industry players also noted that local textiles production in many East African countries still face high production costs, limited infrastructure, and strong foreign competition. Analysts believe government will need significant investment in manufacturing, policy support, and consumer education to successfully transition away from heavy reliance on imported used clothing. Despite the challenges, regional leaders maintain that strengthening local industries remains essential for long-term economic growth and sustainable development across East Africa. And that's it for this morning's Mega News Assist. Want to say a big thank you to you for staying with us. But before we take leave of you, we take a second look at the stories making headlines. District Assembly is recording faster development under 80% Common Fund policy, John Dramani Mahama. In business, NPA chief raises concern over emerging national energy security threats. On the international front, East African nations push to reduce used clothing imports amid economic and industrial concerns. For more news, log on to MBN 360. And also don't forget that news was live across our social media handles on MBN 360, Facebook, YouTube, and X. My name is El Samuels. Up next, a sports update.